In the early 1990s, a lot of big theatrical kids' movies were being released, and this was mostly due to the financial success of the Home Alone films. One movie that fit this kids' entertainment category back then was the 1993 movie, Menace the Menace. Based on the popular comic strip which started in the 1950s, the film was about a young mischievous boy named Dennis Mitchell who gets into many childhood shenanigans while annoying his elderly neighbor Mr. Wilson. This was actually one of the first movies I can remember seeing in a theater at around the age of 5 years old. I really enjoyed it at the time, and although I can recognize today that it isn't a perfect film, I still have nostalgia for it and find it extremely charming. This year marks the film's 30-year anniversary since it was released to theaters, so I figured I'd celebrate by doing a deep dive into the behind the scenes of the movie. Well, with all that, this is the 1993 movie, Menace the Menace, 10 Things You May Not Know. Number 10. The first original Menace the Menace comic strip was published on March 12, 1951, written and illustrated by Hank Ketchum. The character was named after his young 4-year-old son, Dennis Ketchum. By coincidence, another unrelated comic strip based in the UK was also published for the first time on the very same day of that year and was also titled Menace the Menace. Neither had anything to do with each other, although they were somewhat similar, both being about a mischievous boy. The big differences though is that the UK Dennis looked very different with black hair and was a much more mean-spirited character compared to the more innocent and naive US Dennis. Many people believe that one was plagiarized from the other, but based on research there is no real proof of that, so it looks like it really was just an amazing coincidence. Number 9. The comic strip became very popular by the late 1950s, and CBS adapted it into a TV sitcom in 1959 as a replacement for Leave It to Beaver, which had migrated over to ABC after its first season. Later in 1986, Menace the Menace was adapted into an animated cartoon series by Deke Entertainment, first airing in syndication and then on Saturday mornings on CBS. The next year in 1987, the first live-action film adaptation was aired on television. This made-for-TV movie, like the cartoon, was also produced by Deke Entertainment and had a similar tone to the animated series. In this film version, Dennis was played by young actor Victor DiMattia, who would later go on to appear in the popular 1993 movie The Sandlot, playing the character of Timmy Timmons. Number 8. The film was written and produced by popular screenwriter and director John Hughes. He was coming off of writing and producing the very popular Home Alone films and used a lot of elements from the formula of those movies for the Menace the Menace script. When the movie went into production, it was directed by Nick Castle, who is best known for playing Michael Myers in the original 1978 horror movie, Halloween. Before Menace the Menace, Castle had previously directed other notable films such as the 1984 movie, The Last Starfighter, and the 1986 film, The Boy Who Could Fly. Number 7. Originally the first choice for the role of Mr. Wilson was Leslie Nielsen, but he couldn't play the part because he was already committed to playing the villain in the 1993 movie, Surf Ninjas. Eventually Walter Matthau was cast in the role. By this point the legendary actor was in his early 70s, so his gruff exterior with a heart of gold personality was perfect for the role of grumpy old Mr. Wilson. Number 6. Over 20,000 young boys auditioned for the main role of Dennis Mitchell. Only 10 of them were picked to test the role with Walter Matthau as Mr. Wilson. Eventually 6-year-old actor Mason Gamble was selected for the part. He really charmed the casting director, especially when he pulled a live worm out of his pocket during an audition. This was his first feature-length film, and he was so young that he actually lost 2 baby teeth during the production and had to wear fake ones to finish the movie. Mason is actually the son of actor Tim Gamble, who appeared in many roles in film and TV. His most notable part in a film is most likely in the 1985 movie, The Breakfast Club. In that film he plays Molly Ringwald's character's father at the beginning of the movie. Number 5. Christopher Lloyd played the role of antagonist Switchblade Sam. Lloyd had previously been offered the part of Harry Lime in another John Hughes written and produced movie, Home Alone, but he turned it down and that role ended up going to Joe Pesci. After Home Alone became a huge success, Lloyd regretted his decision and jumped at the chance to play a somewhat similar role in this film. Number 4. Switchblade Sam, played by Christopher Lloyd, is pretty effective at being a terrifying character. This is very apparent in the notorious apple scene. In this part of the film, one of the young neighborhood kids named Gunther is sitting in his yard eating an apple when Sam walks up and pierces the apple with his switchblade right from little Gunther's hand. He then cuts a piece off and eats it and walks away, stealing the apple, creating nightmare fuel for an entire generation of millennial kids everywhere. Number 3. A teenage girl named Polly comes over to babysit Dennis and humorously brings a football helmet for the job. This babysitter character is actually played by actress Natasha Lyonne, who in recent years has appeared and starred in successful TV shows such as Netflix series Orange is the New Black, Russian Doll, and the Peacock series, Poker Face. Also, her boyfriend Mickey in this movie is played by actor Devin Ratray, who had previously appeared in the John Hughes-produced Home Alone movies, playing Kevin's older brother Buzz. Number 2. The film was shot in Evanston, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. This isn't all that surprising considering most movies written and produced by John Hughes are set near Chicago. The original comic strip was also set in the Midwest, although it took place in a middle-class suburban neighborhood in Wichita, Kansas. Number 1. Despite its mixed and negative reviews from film critics, the movie was a box office success, making $117.3 million on a budget of $35 million. Most critics praised Walter Matthau in the film, and he left such an impact that he was actually called Mr. Wilson on the street by kids for the rest of his life. The film's legacy lives on to this day as a childhood favorite of many millennials who saw the movie as kids. Well, that was the 1993 movie, Dennis the Menace, 10 Things You May Not Know. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe to the Dave Likes Movies channel right here. If you have any suggestions for other movies I should cover in the future, go ahead and leave me a comment down below.